Hello, I am Dr. Sha-Rhonda Green. I'm a licensed clinical social worker since 2004. Today, I want to share with you about breaking free from Superwoman to self-love and the strong black woman syndrome. And I'm wanting to encourage you to embrace balance, compassion, and consistency instead. So, what is consistency? Consistency is showing up daily and regularly in every moment, in most moments, not every moment, but most moments, showing up even when your motivation is low, making progress no matter how small it is, celebrating your small wins, and sticking to a routine, sticking to a schedule, sticking to the things that you said that you're going to do for yourself, being patient and persistent in the face of obstacles, recognizing that consistency is a skill that can be developed over time. And if you stay with me to the end, I'm going to tell you how you're likely already being consistent and how you can embrace that and it be a transferable skill set to this domain of your life. So, particularly for Black women, consistency is tied to our resilience and our survival, and also in the face of systematic racism and oppression. You know, our birth order can impact how we show up consistently and how we've been told as children, as adults, how we're supposed to show up consistently for others. Firstborns can be really perfectionistically driven. Middleborns sometimes are more adaptable and flexible, but there's elements of perfectionism if you take a look in your life and also look at ways that you've tried to be perfect for love, for attention, and also if you have been the child in your family that showed up for everybody, their parentification can impact your consistency. Being the adult or being adultified and being the junior parent in your family, those things can impact how you struggle to take care of yourself as an adult based on how you were told how you had to do things when you were a child or in your formative years. So, consistency also entails setting healthy boundaries and prioritizing your own needs and managing your anxiety that's related to excessive responsibility and developing a sense of self that goes beyond caregiving and nurturing and saving and being everything to everybody else. So, what is perfectionism? It is unrealistic. It's an unrealistic expectation that you have to achieve with flawlessness. It is inhumane. It also perpetuates all or nothing thinking. If I'm not perfect, I'm a failure. If I'm not perfect, I can't get love. If I'm not perfect, I'm not going to fit in. If I'm not perfect, I'm not going to get a husband. If I'm not perfect, I'm not going to get the love from my parents. If I'm not perfect, I'm not going to be the star in my family. If I'm not perfect, people are going to ostracize me. So it's also the fear of making mistakes or having imperfections. It's an overemphasis on your achievement and your success. It is also has a tendency to criticize you, and you internalize criticizing yourself harshly, and you are afraid of making mistakes, and you shame yourself for your shortcomings. These types of thinking patterns and thoughts and ways that you have learned how to adapt and survive in your life is particularly associated with your experiences of trauma and your ways that you've learned attachment in your life. And Black women in particular is that the strong woman syndrome or strong Black woman trope that is sometimes perpetuated as empowering, but is like debilitating and suffocating. It is internalized racism and the need to prove yourself in systematic racism. It is a need to be everything for everybody. It is familial and cultural expectations around your achievement and success. It is a trope that portrays Black women as resilient and self-sacrificing, that is rooted in historical systems of oppression and sexism, that tells and expects Black women to handle excessive emotional labor, physical labor, and responsibility without showing vulnerability and weakness or emotion, being strong, how much you can take and how much other people can extract from you. This can and will lead to burnouts, mental health issues, and erasure of your vulnerability and erasure of your sense of self, of your esteem. The dangers of perfectionism, it sabotages your progress. It's like, okay, so if I can't do it 100%, I'm not going to do 50, I'm not going to do 10, I'm not going to do 30. So I'm not going to do anything. And so those things shut you down and debilitate you in a way that becomes a repeated cycle of self-flagellation, self-hate, and it leads to self-criticism and this negative self-talk. These tapes that come into your mind, into your brain about who you think that you are, because things around you, systems say that you're supposed to be doing something else, and systems say that you're supposed to be basically being inhumane. It causes anxiety and stress and burnout. It also fosters this fear of failure and risk aversion. So you don't want to even take any risk. And so the familiarity of staying stuck sometimes is what you choose versus doing something else. And this can lead to procrastination and indecision and paralysis, like decision paralysis. It perpetuates a cycle of self-sabotage and shame. For Black women, because of the intersectionality of racism and sexism, it just magnifies and exacerbates the inadequacy and low self-esteem. It's the pressure to present in the Black community and present and represent in the Black community, and avoid perpetuating negative stereotypes. So not only do you become responsible for your image, you become responsible for a whole culture. There's this if Angeline is this, for example, then her whole community is this. So there's this lack of visibility and representation in media and other public life or other areas of life where it's not okay for you to have any emotional expression, that when you express a very healthy emotion, a very healthy response, particularly anger, oh, you're angry, oh, you're being hostile. Now, if someone is running over your foot and your emotions are like the language of your body, your emotions are like, okay, wait a minute, something painful has happened. And anger is a natural and normal response to that because a violation has occurred. Someone has offended upon your body. Someone has violated your boundary. Anger gives us power to assert, to take care of ourselves, to defend ourselves. But time after time, with oppression, with racism, and also with sexism, and it's told us and erased our voices about how we get to feel about something. Because then if we feel something that is opposite to whatever entity or whatever thing is trying to get something from us, then we're set on fire. And birth order comes into play, right? So all of these different nuances of birth order, of our race, of our gender, and what our family systems expect of us add more layers of pressure, add more layers of stress. And then also what happens over time is weathering. It's like continual and perpetual, like erasure. In one of my videos, I talk about being sick and tired, like the TIYYEED, that tired. When Black women say that, it's like it is ongoing and perpetual stress and numbing and silencing and erasure. And numbing is also anger. Perfectionism versus self-compassion. So perfectionism focuses on achievement and success. Self-compassion focuses on kindness, your humanity, and gentleness, and how you pillow talk and soft talk yourself. Perfectionism is often critical and judgmental. Self-compassion is understanding and empathetic, like how you talk to yourself, how I would talk to my 5-year-old self. Yeah, like it's okay. It's normal to feel this way. I understand why you are scared. This is really scary. I'm going to sit here with you until we're going to feel our feelings and we're going to get what we need. What do you need? A blanket? Would you like some water? Do you need a nap? So you're talking to yourself with empathy and compassion. And what also happens with perfectionism, it can lead to self-isolation. Like you don't want to be, you really don't want to be seen. You don't want to embrace your community. You become hyper vigilant. You become hyper independent, and all those things are trauma responses. If you are always having to be on, if you're always expected to do things well and to perform, why do you want to be around people, be around things that expect robotic and inhumane things from you? Self-compassion and self-love, it fosters connection. It allows you to access people, places, and entities and community support to help you to shoulder to live this life. Your life is not, you are a human being. Your life is not meant to be lived alone. So what are some things to embrace consistency and self-compassion? So before I get to that, I think I've already talked about some of the consequences. Well, I didn't talk about the consequences, but the consequences of perfectionism, I think I've been talking about, but I want to talk a little bit more about that. So some of the consequences of perfectionism: burnout, exhaustion, anxiety, depression, physical problems, headaches, when you say that you feel heavy, when you feel tingly, when you feel hot, like however that symptom is coming up in your body as an expression of the oppression, the frustration, the perfectionism that you've experienced, digestive issues, strained relationships, and also, like I said before, social isolation. You have a loss of motivation, a loss of inspiration, a loss of creativity. You're just tired. You're done. You're like, okay, no, I'm clocking out. I can't do this. I won't do this. You don't have any energy. And all that does is continue to perpetuate your negative self-talk and reinforces your negative self-talk and self-doubt. And for Black women, this can exacerbate already existing health disparities, such as hypertension, heart disease, and other like lifestyle issues, lifestyle diseases, and it can magnify and exacerbate that. So you got your health being ravaged against, and then you got your emotions being ravaged against, and then you got systems that are telling you that you should keep pushing and that you should continue to take care of everybody else. When you look at the research in the CDC, when Black women get diagnosed with particularly like cancer and things like that, there's symptomology sometimes that have presented for decades, and when sometimes Black women find out that they have maybe cancer or another disease, it's because like all the wheels are coming off. Versus if there was some different awareness and a different vulnerability and a different humanity and compassion to say, gosh, like what is that thing that is happening? But with the combination of oppression and numbing and Black women being held to this trope, you learn how to like not listen to your body. And so when things go undiagnosed for a long time, it's usually a combination of those things. So embracing consistency and self-compassion. Start small and set realistic goals. It could be a daily affirmation, like you could be sitting and making sure that you take some time to eat and chew your breakfast. It could be a song, it could be movement, it could be saying no to the things that you don't want to do, about preserving yourself, preserving your yes for you. Practice self-care and prioritize well-being. And so there's a lot of things that capitalism gets a hold of, particularly like self-care. And sometimes we think self-care is on this other expensive continuum, like I'm going to trips, I'm doing this. When I will, in the context of resiliency, in the context of self-love, in the context of compassion, it is self-care is honing on, is keeping your appointments, is brushing your teeth, it's the your mental hygiene, your physical hygiene. It's those things that you take, that you ritualize and you make sacred for yourself. Though not to say that those things are not amazing, but the small incremental things that you do daily, like if you wake up and take your time to stretch and to drink water and to hydrate and to put nutriently dense food into your body, and you get to move your body in ways that feel pleasing to you, that you become the center of your world, and then you get to decide what you want to give to the world. And it's focusing on your progress. It's focusing on celebrating your small wins and acknowledging your efforts. And you treat yourself with kindness and understanding and patience. That your worth and value come from within. Your worth and value is grounded in your beliefs, and your beliefs about your higher power, your beliefs about what you know your ancestry is, the belief about those types of things. And it's not from external validation. But even when those things feel good, but if it feels good to the point that you self-abandon, then that's going to be like, oh, am I being self-compassionate? And consistency and self-compassion, Black women, what that looks like, may be prioritizing self-care. It may be rest. It may be sleep, which are incongruent to the constant demands of labor and productivity. Practicing self-forgiveness and acknowledging that mistakes are a natural part of learning and growth. You may have been told that, like, gosh, why do you keep doing this? And people may have told you, can link to perfectionism, that you can't make any mistakes. And also just know that that's rooted in our history, the research on post-traumatic slave syndrome, that we can't make any mistakes because that meant that we would be ripped apart from our families. That meant death. That meant violence. That meant rape. That meant maiming. It meant all kind of things, that you can't make a mistake. And so what happens when we are parented, intergenerationally parented, when we're trying to protect our children, thinking that we're protecting our children, and thinking and behaving that we're protecting our children, that we don't give room for margin for error. We internalized those systems of oppression, and we become in some ways oppressive to our child's development. And so those traumas get perpetuated intergenerationally. And so it's also cultivating a supportive community of fellow Black women who understand and uplift you, embracing and celebrating the beauty and the diversity of your Black womanhood, the sensuality and the goddessness of that. The need for self-care and community support helps to mitigate the effects of perfectionism and mitigate the effects of systematic racism and sexism, and it helps to promote an overall well-being. So I want you to remember this. I want you to call back your energy to you. I want you to call back your consistency and creativity to you. Remember all the times that you've shown up for other people and you poured your energy into their lives and hoped for validation in return? It's time for you to reclaim your energy and give it to the person who needs it the most. You need it the most. Give it this energy back to yourself. And just imagine taking care of yourself with the same love and kindness and dedication that you give into others. Imagine prioritizing your needs and your desires and your wants. When you give yourself the care and attention that you deserve, you will be absolutely amazed at how your life is transformed, how your life becomes radiant, how your life becomes fulfilled, how your life becomes filled with joy. So this is your call to action. Call back all the energy and give it to yourself. You are worth love, care, and prioritization. I am Dr. Sha-Rhonda Green. I'm a licensed clinical social worker since 2004. If you want to partner with me and allow me to partner with you to further discover your voice, to amplify your voice, and learn how to call back all your energy to you, book a session with me. I am a licensed clinical social worker in private online therapy practice, and I'm especially passionate about helping Black women have abundant and beautiful lives. I hope you have an amazing day today, and share in the comments ways that you've been perfectionistic and ways that you've been trying to push back against things, and share what your thoughts are. I would love to hear them. Take care.